Hello, everyone. I'm Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk. This is an awesome day. Guess why? Guess what? I have Firehorse on with me, Chad Cooper, and Iris Jackson. I'm so proud to be here with you all. Firehorse, I first saw you on Tanyo's Galactic Talk a few months ago, and I just saw you again yesterday or the day before. And I like what you were talking. You were talking about, religion and the true Jeshua was, he wasn't white, you know. You were talking about the red planet. You were talking about the pharaohs. Now I want to ask you, why do you paint your face? I like it. Is it the horse? How did the horse come to you? Tell me about you.
Okay, this is a loaded question. This is crazy. Okay, first of all, I got my name Firehorse because my ex-girlfriend, she was into astrology, especially Chinese astrology. So then the year that I was born, I fall on a fire horse. So she always would call me Firehorse, Firehorse. So I used it kind of as an alias more than anything else because in 2011 I had a psyop operation that rolled up on me, and the number one person involved was the reincarnated Bruce Lee. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I put on a mask so I could just tell my story and people don't think like this guy is crazy because this story is too crazy. He just wants to be famous. Like, no, I'm just gonna keep it low. I'm gonna tell you my story, take it or leave it. I don't want to be famous. I don't care, So I have it more as a secret identity in a way.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We would never think of you as cray cray here. We're super soldiers, so.
Oh yeah, no. Once you said cold breakers, I said all right. And you have trolls attacking you, then you must be doing something right. So it's like yeah, I know. So I get you. Okay, so this is weird. I just say a short story of it, but I talk about it longer since we have 2 hours if you want. But this is what kind of my antenna stood up. I'll tell you my whole history. It started as a child before I went to kindergarten, right? I was looking at the ceiling and the ceiling morphed into like an alien from what I remember. And we just started to talk. We just had a conversation. I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And when we're talking, the only conversation I remember was the last sentence that was like, you have a destiny, and this is like somebody that, it's not even in kindergarten and it's like destiny. It was like, I have a destiny. I have a destiny. And that got stuck in my head. So my eyes was already open since as a child. So I thought that everybody knew about interdimensional aliens. I was able to pick up thoughts from people. I thought that everybody was telepathic.
What does the alien look like, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, the alien. You know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. This is. I don't remember how it looked like, but this is what I did years later, and I didn't put two and two together until this is the life journey of like, what was that about? And okay, and what is this Matrix about? And what destiny are you talking about? It's like so yeah, those are the thoughts. Those are more questions. So like in somewhere in the 80s, I heard a woman. She's I know a lot of witches know who she is. Evelyn Paglini. She was on Art Bell, and she talked about a recipe and how you can do with a mirror. How you can take the mirror, paint it black, like a triple black, and then put like some of your blood and your hair in it, and then you have your own power mirror, portal. So I did that. And then when I did that one night, I'm like mirror gazing, and I see like a holographic image of like this alien, but it's like has an oval head, a childlike face. He's looking down, but the most weird thing about it, it had like bat wings of a bat. But so all this that kind of like, it's like, okay, this is interesting. are these demons? Are these the gargoyles? Are these guardian angels? You know, so there's even more questions. But I figured along the way it had to do with this alien, you know. And then I go fast forwarding. I'm gonna jump all over the place. I'm sorry, but fast forwarding, like in 2017, my quest was like, okay, I gotta find out what the fuck was that conversation about. I go to Peru on a week pilgrimage, doing ayahuasca, you know, and then there's a video of like somewhere where Megan Fox talks about her ayahuasca experience and how she went into the abyss, you know, wherever that primordial darkness is. And then she stopped short, but I know what she was talking about because I went through that whole experience. But when I went through there, on that experience of trying to learn, like you know, what is my destiny? I want to make sure that I come through it, is because, you know, my whole life has been, you know, of like on a spiritual path, you know, like so Azizio, it just pop, and I'm going like, what is this Azizio? I'm going like, wait a minute. At first, I thought it was this elder that I knew, Brother Azizio, you know, who you know, he was one of my teachers, you know, who passed away, transcended recently. But it took me months to figure out, like, no, Mother Ayahuasca was telling me that Azizio was that alien that I was talking to when I was a child. You know, so then this is so far my whole stringing of this whole thing, and I'm going like, wow. So what are demons? Demons are originally were like meant knowing, someone who knows, the knowing, you know. So yeah, so going back to why I put this mask on is the identity, really, because in 2011 I went through like 11 months of crazy torture, which I'd rather go through like a hell week in boot camp, way more easier than this, because it was kind of interesting, because I met Lee through Craigslist, because I looked through the, you know, writers and screenwriters, you know, because I love to write. My thing is filmmaking. That's where my passion is, and that's where I rather make entertaining films that drops knowledge like this, you know, as opposed to like, hey, let me, you know, preach about the Anunnaki. I'd rather make a film about it, you know, and just tie it on to like tangible stuff instead of theories out there, you know. So Lee, so then I answered an ad about looking for somebody was looking for a screenwriter to write about reincarnation. So at that point I said, all right, I get reincarnation, but somewhere along that post, he mentions Bruce Lee, and I was going like, wow, this is kind of interesting, because I knew that we had like a past connection. You know, in 2010, I met a woman. She did the reading. She goes like, that was my son in a past life. And I said, like, that's kind of interesting, because when I was a child, the first time I seen a Bruce Lee film, you know, like, you ever like meet a stranger for the first time and your hair pricks up, and your whole, like, your body starts to like, put the light in here for you guys. So your whole body lights up and tingling, and you're going like, wow, soul recognition, you know. So going inside the theater and seeing him as a child wasn't like I was hyped up like another kid going like, yeah, kick his ass. It was more like a feeling overwhelming, you know. And every time I see documentaries of him, I cry, you know. It's like I cry, and I'm like, why am I crying, you know? So I knew it was, you know.
Yeah, I grew up with my father watching Bruce Lee and all kinds of fighting movies, and he would tell me about Samson and all that stuff. So I'm gonna keep letting you talk, obviously, but I'm gonna have Iris show you something. Okay, let me see how
Okay.
we
Okay.
go ahead and keep talking. Thank you. Go ahead, Firehorse.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Um so I already had like this weird you know, like he inspired me to like do martial arts, you know. Plus I had a kindred connection to it because of my past life with martial arts, you know. So the way everything just flows so easy when it came to kung fu, and my passion for the Asian culture. You know, we all have like are drawn to certain cultures because a lot of it has to do with us resonating from our past lives, you know, all our influences and everything. It has to do with who we were in the past life.
Yeah. Iris, were you able to share the screen?
It's actually on my phone. So, and because of this background, can you show it to him?
Okay, and then look at this picture. I know my phone's broken, but look at this picture, Firehorse.
Okay, who drew that?
Iris, talk to him about it, Mama.
Okay, I saw this man with a hat, and he had black across his eyes on July 26th, 2022 at 3:31 in the morning. That is you.
I knew I had to have him on. I'm like, this guy's part of our clan here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
no,
I keep track of everything. I don't know if you can see my book.
Wow.
But yeah, I wrote down the date and time that I saw it. And I thought it was strange. I said, I saw this man, but it was painted black across his eyes.
That's you. And guess what? Dad likes to do, he likes to write, how do you say, playwrights, and he's been working on some songs, and it's not a coincidence that we're all here. Right, Chad?
Yeah,
Wow.
it just clicked when I was looking at you. I said, I've seen him before, even though I was watching you on Torino's the other day. But I said, I've seen this. And I found it in my book, my journal, and that's you. Because I don't know why I was coloring across the eye. I said, well, that's strange. I've never seen anyone like that, but okay. Well, that's you.
You're a brother, Firehorse.
Wow. Well, that my whole life has been synchronicity. Everything I realized that, and I always look. It's always been synchronicities, and all the sisters that I came across were like oracles. You know, so that helped me a lot with my journey too. So yeah.
Ask Veronica what she calls me.
Veronica, what do you call her?
What do I call her?
He just said the word oracle.
I call her my
oracle. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm looking for the 7 sisters, which I know Iris. I don't know if Chad is. I don't know if you are, but you know, I'm looking for the 7 sisters, and it doesn't mean that you have to be, you know, female. And
it's the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been looking. So right now I know that Eve's the part of the 7 sisters, Iris, myself. It could be Chad because we were talking about that.
Yeah. My energy's feminine. My soul energy's feminine. From what I understand. Yeah. So it could possibly be 7 sisters. You mean like the stars?
Yeah.
My grandfather named organs 7 or sisters after those, I think. Yeah. Or something interesting, huh? Yeah. He's one of the ones that named that town Sisters after those. Or I think of the mountains. Maybe.
You know that alien thing that you saw that he looks like a childlike and he had wings?
Yes.
That's part of the gray. Now, it could be the tall gray, but I know the small gray. I don't ever seen them with wings, but I have seen the tall gray and the Dracos with the wings. So if it's a
Can you see all of this?
Yeah, what does it say, Chad?
No, those are my notes for Firehorse when we're ready.
Oh yeah, of course.
Later on, yeah, I wanted to ask some questions in a little while, but
real quick, I want to talk to you about Azazel because last year I heard him talk to me. I'm like, what's up, Azazel? Because I talk to everybody. It's just that I don't worship nothing. I do not bow down to anything. I do not pray. I know.
Yeah. I'm like that. Yeah.
What's up? You know, so I was at the gym and I had been looping. Looping to me means where I'm driving and I'm like, why the heck did I end up here if I'm supposed to go over there? And sometimes you're taken in the secret space program or other programs, or you just go through a portal and you're like, oh crap, you know, I'm back. I'm like, how come I'm at Target? I was supposed to go to, you know, buy at 5-11 to buy me some boots. What am I doing here at Target, right? And then I did a video right there at the Target parking lot. I'm like, I went to the gym and I found something told me there was 4 lockers that were left open, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's just whatever. And I looked at the numbers, and then there was, I told myself, look at that plant. There's a fake plant there by a mirror, and I do a lot of work with mirrors, so I understand what you were talking about earlier. And I found a pair of pearl earrings. And one of my friends says, that's because they're affirming, you're confirming and affirming that you are royalty bloodline. I'm like, I know, but this is kind of weird, you know? And so that's what I call looping. When you go somewhere and maybe the next day or that week something happens that you wanted to manifest, or is your inner self says something. So I was like, Azazel, what's going on? And I heard again this last week, I heard Azazel, and then I heard you talking about it, and I'm like, so I want to ask you about that. Who is he? And like, I don't know, like your experience with him. What can you tell me? Do you have any experiences like that or something?
Well, that was the experience when I was like, as a child, thinking, am I talking to this alien? I wanted to find out who that alien was, and then seeing that in the mirror, and then going to Peru, going on the ayahuasca trip, that it answered that was Aziziel, and I'm going like, wait a minute, and I'm thinking like, okay, so demons are kind of like our guardian angels, and then I don't think the archangels have like our best interest, so it's like kind of backwards. This is me assuming this from my experience, and then it's like my connection. What is my connection to Aziziel? And I'm thinking Aziziel has to be the one of the Anunas, you know, going back to reincarnation, you know, like going back to
Anunnaki. You mean he is actually from the El? He is from the, if you study Ashiana Dean, he's from the Elohim.
Okay.
So he's like a brother or cousin to Lucifer.
Okay.
And I do not trust angels. I do not ask for any help, but I have seen in my life that some of the angels that supposedly are bad are the ones that end up helping you. Even, you know, I don't ask for help, like I said, but when I'm irritated and stuff, I say, oh, my stars, my star family, you know, myself, what the heck is going on? I need an answer now. Like, I'm tired of waiting for this crap, you know? And people will appear in my life that help me through my life. But it is backward here. It's an upside down world, Firehorse. Like last night I was like, you know, why is it that when you're reading something, it's backward or upside down? And I'm like, and then you know how you see a paisaje, a painting where there's beautiful sunset, there's trees and water, and then on the bottom it's a reflection, right? And people say, oh, that's a reflection of the sun. And I'm like, well, duh, because the sun is a disc. The sun is like a mirror. The sun is a portal as well. So everything is inverted. Same thing with the angels and the demons. If you look at, go ahead.
Dyslexia. That I have dyslexia, so that was to my advantage, because every time I would just the opposite. So
yeah, me too. I could read upside down, sideways. And I don't know if you guys seen that movie. I talk about it a lot. The Golden Compass. Okay. About the dust. The dust is bioluminescence. Is actually us, our crystal beings. What I talk about. That is also the same thing with our pets, our dogs, and stuff like that. And there, you know, the Vatican. You know, all these alphabet soups and mafia, whatever, and the ones that the Vatican, I found that they worship the snake, meaning some people call it Lucifer, whatever, but I think it's just the Alpha Draco, because you know they have him in the cross, and Moses and his staff, you know, he said, oh, if you're feeling sick or whatever, look at this snake and you'll heal. Okay, so they're worshiping the snake over there in the Vatican. The Christian church is worshiping the fake Jesus, what I call the fake Jesus. And we are, you know, we have, most of us have that bloodline, especially if you're O negative or AB negative or you're a carrier of that. I got off track. So is Azazel still with you?
I think so, because this is like when I came across this psychic woman, right? Whether it's him or not, the alien being, but Mother Ayahuasca, you know, I didn't fucking puke for a week for nothing, not eating no salt, no sugar, no nothing, no starch, and starving, and just like, which was actually from that ayahuasca experience. This is what's interesting that I love. After that happened, two small dragons appeared, and for some reason something resonates with the mother dragon, because I remember being born hatching out of an egg as a dragon. Well, the mushroom helped me with that, but I going into that, I saw like this two snakes just going like to each other, and I didn't realize that I was raising the Kundalini energy. I still got a mark spot right here, but when I saw that unlocking and I saw the pentagram, I said, like, that is a seal, that you're just breaking through that seal. And that's when I just relived it. I was in the bathtub, the water was running like Constantine with Keanu Reed.
Yeah. Can I tell you what it is? What I just saw right now?
What is it?
I'm a psychic medium too. Okay, what you did is you unlocked your feminine side and your masculine side, and you joined it with the divine. Because the Star of David is, the triangle upside down is the feminine. Now, if you're a bloodline, royal bloodline, O negative, the O negatives, we have X and we have Y chromosome. So 2 plus 2, the divine equals 5. So you actually unlocked yourself. And that's when you most likely started your journey here, your mission, to find out, first of all, who you are. And I do believe you about the dragon, because I have, look at all these dragon tattoos that I have. I have past lives of being a dragon, and our past wars are a bunch of us good dragons, not the evil ones, because there's good and bad and everything. And we had lost the war. And if you look at the map of the United States, there's a dragon that's still underground, like in the fossils. I know, Chad, you follow that guy, fossil guy, but there was
the fairy tales depicts that, like where the child is in there talking to a dragon. Everything that you think is imagined and fairy tale, that's the reality. Those are the original, the mother dragon. For some reason, I don't follow religion, but I always connected with the dragon. I had like a Chinese dragon that had fallen. I didn't know, and I had a dream that it was broken. When I woke up, I went and I sure enough, it was broken. So the dragon, if you look in the mirror long enough, you can actually shapeshift if you want to. Because
exactly, and that's why I'm thinking maybe they used you in the secret space program, because you have these abilities as well. But you have to find out for yourself with your dreams. You got to write down your memories and all that. As far as the dragon breaking, like physically, that's because you unlocked yourself. You're like, it's kind of like it happened to me. Like, I feel like I was a walk-in, because I had, when I had my awakening in 2017, a light went out on my heart, bright light. I fell to my knees, and there was this star that went así afuera, un chingo de ruido, light and everything. But I went outside with my neighbors and the lady, and then the man I was living with. I go, did you guys hear that? Did you guys see that? Yeah. And there was nothing on the ground, no hole, nothing. And I'm like, what do we do? Do we call the cops? I'm like, so that's kind of like an unleashing. What happened to you with the dragon? Your real self came out.
Yeah, I know. I even with Kung Fu, I said, like, I want to learn dragon style. T-shirt. Nobody learns dragon style. It's like, I want to learn because of Bruce Lee. No, not Bruce Lee. I love the dragon. But so yeah, just to tie up that little story, on another day we could go as long as you want, and I'll tell you the whole thing with Lee and all that stuff. But it was a psyop operation. For months we learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot from him, and he realizes that we were connected to a past life. And then so people that out there are skeptics, but they know who David Blaine is. David Blaine knows him too. David Blaine knows who reincarnated Bruce Lee. So they know each other. Just like go like, oh, this guy's making this up. If you ever see David Blaine, go like, David, do you know reincarnated? He's gonna look at you, go like, I know that. Because this is like in the know, and those schmucks up in Hollywood.
Yeah, I believe all that. We do all in this. The people that follow me on the channel, they know what you're talking about, and we believe all that stuff because we have experiences. One more question before Chad goes and Iris. Very important to me. I was telling Iris, and I think I told Chad. So I have this very important astral thing that I have a question on. Okay, so I'm flying, and I'm like, ooh, this highway seems interesting. It was like all crossing and everything, you know, weird, and it was white, all white, and I'm like, then I stand. And I'm getting ready to go downstairs. So I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs. You know, maybe I'm gonna go to the dumps or something. I just knew I had to go down to the freeway, you know, from the freeway down the bottom. Entonces, there's this light beam, like a ship, but it was just a light. And then boom, 3 people appeared. It was a lady in short black hair. She had dark black makeup, and she had leather, like a off sleeve tight shirt and tight leather pants. One of my friends said he thinks it's me, that all 3 people are me, but I'm like, no, there's just something more, because I love goth stuff, you know. And I'm like, nah, it sounds like Mother Mary here, you know. And then the other guy, I think, oh, is this like Joseph or what? He had a long ass beard, like he was like redhead, you know, a hat, and then he had like a blue button down shirt. And then the little kid that came to me, he was about maybe 11, 12 years old. Güerito with crew cut, like a military crew cut, white. And he had very beautiful, grainy denim blue button down shirt and nice jeans. And I thought, is he my son? Because he kind of looked like my son when my son was little. And he says, he gives me this beautiful, era un bill. I'm like, what is this? Like a $5 bill? What is this? And I looked at it, and it's a bill, okay? So it has a 5 on top here, 5 on the bottom, 5 on top, 5 on the bottom on the corners. And in the middle, Firehorse, tiene un planet that's maroon. And on the bottom of it, on the side, it has a star, dude. 5-pointed star. So that's 5, 5, 5, 5, that's 10. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, right? Which is a 2. I always talk about mirrors. And if you add another 5, what is that? 25, that's 7. The serpent number, the perfect number. Pero after that, real quick, I go downstairs and I have this bill, and I'm like, oh, my mom's here with my niece, and I'm gonna buy them some donuts. This guy was selling donuts in the bottom of the base there, but then at the sides, there was a bunch of plexiglass that there was people there. There was like, do I help him or what's going on here? I wake up from that dream, and then the next dream that is from this is I'm feeding a bunch of people in Mexico after we're done with one of our rescue missions for the space program. Then my son appears in the kitchen, and he has on this is the last part. He has on a basketball top and a basketball shorts, because he used to play, you know, I put him in basketball when he was a kid, and he's in maroon. And I'm like, maroon? I go, mijo, do you want to eat something? You know, all this food right here. No, mom, I'm gonna go play my game and I'll be back. But it's maroon, very shiny, that silk material. Have you, I don't know, do you guys want to comment on that? Because I'm still wondering what the heck, like, where's the maroon planet? Am I from the maroon planet? Because I always say I'm Andromeda from Traveler 1800 from Andromeda, you know, but have you ever, any thoughts on this, Firehorse, and anybody else?
Could be a parallel, you know, you living that parallel world, because when you go to sleep, you visit your parallel realities, you know. That's my guess.
What do you know about the red planet you were talking about on Tanya's show?
This is the cosmology that goes back to the records of Nibiru. You know, when it was crossing, and they had like the planet, that's the asteroid belt that used to be their planet that got wrecked. And then that moon from that planet became, you know, that's the black satellite. And then that black satellite, I haven't I'll go deep more into it, because I don't know, I bite off more than I can chew when I take like all these themes and shove it in the show that I kind of like, phew, gotta go through my notes. But if you to tell me like, all right, 2 weeks from now, tell me the whole story, then I'll give you the whole
like you do.
Sumerian tablets.
I know. I have all this information. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, but you know, you just mentioned the black. Now that has to do with black satellite, black rock, the cube and Saturn. All that has to do with a bunch of Nephilims, Aleister Crowley. We can talk about that later, but you go first.
So yeah, so that's like their you know, there, I think there's also two groups of the Anunas, you know. So these are the Igigis that one of the texts, that Sumerian tablets, or one of the tablets, said that when we were entrapped here on this matrix, something else evil was trapped in with us, and some of the Anunas got desperate and made a deal with, like, you know, the demons here. And those are from Revelations, the 7 kings that you read about. Those are the 7 demons that are there. And I heard that one of them is Azazel.
Oh yeah, that's like from they got stuck in the Phantom Matrix, and then some got in a Wisidix Matrix. They got stuck. So then those two guys, along with some of the Ela Elohim, made a deal with Anunnaki, some of them. And that's what this whole thing that's going on right now is about. But it's a long story. Those have been following will know, but you and I can always talk in person too. Tell me more about like the black satellite, because see what it is when Nibiru comes, which Nibiru actually already is exiting, and you know what's coming in is Wormwood, which was actually Doom World. And that's why, you know, a lot of people are saying, hey, in less than 200 years, the world's gonna be no more. So right now what they're doing is they're terraforming the earth, because these mother effers can't breathe our air. And so they're in the dumps right now. They're living there, the ETs, you know, and they're preparing for this catastrophe, but they're trying to get rid of like 3/4 of the population with what
I have the actually chronology of it down pat, and there's the phoenix. You have the phoenix, you know, the bird of death that comes in first, and then from the phoenix, which is due in 2040. 2012 is really 2040. You know, they added 5.5 more days to the calendar. They had Zacharias-ition tell you lies, and all these main people that talks about the Anunnaki every 1,000 years, so that they live for like millions of years. That's not true. But they don't want you to know that we're just one step behind of the Anunnaki in evolution, and they don't want you to know that, you know, because if we can clone and transfer consciousness into a machine for artificial intelligence, why do you make you think that they already done that? You know, that's why every civilization that you see that raises up, you're like, why these civilizations that they're up in technology and all that, the millage, they crumble, all these empires, because they just dropped the house of cards. You're gonna get out of the containment field or out of the matrix, and that's what they don't want, you know. So it's all about, you know, it's like they messed up, you know.
Oh yeah.
They created gods, you know. So
yeah. And I'm gonna let my my co-hosts Chad and Iris talk now, and then because I can go on, and I'll give them a chance, and then we'll have you on again, of course. Okay.
yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Me, Iris. Okay. On my screen, I'm above you, so you're
Cool.
Hi, Firehorse. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to be known as Zen Ray. I'm going to be starting my own platform, and I'll be using an alias as well. I'll be using my real name, Chad, which will be on other platforms, some to do with other things. But I want to do like a blog and start a discussion up. And I was going to coordinate with you a little bit, like on some of the angle I'm going to be taking. My primary focuses are what I've heard you mention is the resets, and those are the 138-year resets that I believe you called them. And so you're
Yes,
saying the last one was 1902, so that would put the next one, you know, with the Phoenix that you were talking about as well in the year 2040.
yes.
And so okay. And then well, these resets though, so you were saying something earlier about, you know, how we connect with our past lives and everything. And I've done past life regression for almost, let's say, over 10 years, you know, off and on. And I have a handful of people, or quite a few, but you know, that I've worked with. And I question it because it doesn't coordinate necessarily with what the reset narrative was. And so like people going back into the cowboy days or the Indian days doesn't resonate so much with me, because to me those weren't really realities that existed. You know, they were more or less fiction that we were told. And because you know, a lot of these stories originated, like, say, in the 1800s, and you're saying the last reset might have been 1902. And from the evidence of it, it does really kind of seem to be that way. Cameras, I think, came out in the 1930s, or is it the 1830s, something like that. And that's when they started taking pictures, and that's when we started getting documentation. But when you first see the United States, you know, and it's photographed, it's all Roman Greco, and it's all, everything is, all the institutions, all the orphanages, all the skyscrapers, all the federal buildings, all the post offices, all the people lived in castles. You know, these are things that were here. So basically we didn't discover this country. You know, we kind of came over here after the reset and took care of the survivors, and then reestablished, you know, what was already here. And there seems to be a lot of evidence, you know, towards that in the photographs, especially because you look at the streets and they're all developed and they're all built, but there's a handful of people out in them kind of displaced. So what my platform is going to be doing is going into people's worlds. And, you know, like there's Alba Wyman, and I adore her. You know, she does past life regressions, but I want to talk to her, like, what are these people seeing for real? Because I don't know, this is, we have to go by what's in front of our face. And what's in front of our face is all over the world is Roman Greco decor, you know, and buildings everywhere, pyramids
Atlantis.
and buildings.
Yeah,
It's in
Isle of
Hawaii,
the one,
you
yeah.
know, and then you look at the old maps, you know, predating the 1500s. And, you know, that's where I'm kind of like trying to piece things together for myself, because I do watch a lot of this guy called John Levi. And he has a lot of great information in regards to the resets. You know, he's unbiased and he just kind of presents it, and I like his style.
Yeah, there's a book called The Secrets of Time. And if you look at the
Right.
chronologers, those are the guys that you have to look at, because all they do is record events that happen throughout the history,
Okay.
you know,
Because
of time.
from the looks of it, like what he was saying is our churches and everything look like they're timekeeping devices. And then we have these clocks, you know, that have survived, this real immaculate one. But it looks like they were all trying to predict the reset. So maybe the reset happened September. They say nobody knows, you know, so that's what.
No, that's why that's the reasons why they destroyed all the books. That's part of destroying all the books and inquisitions, were because all of them was the main reason why the Mayan calendars, the Olmec calendars, the Indian calendar, you got Nandi, I forgot the name of it. And then another four main calendars. The reason why calendars existed was for the countdown of events, so you know when this is going to happen. So every time the Phoenix phenomenon happens, after that, Nibiru follows afterwards.
Mhm.
And Nibiru is due on 2046 AD. You know, so this is I'll put it in a nutshell. It sounds gonna go crazy, but the Sumerians, the Sumerians, or the Anunnaki, through civilizations, they lived like their cycle was like 930 years. So they evolved, you know, and through that evolvement, they figured out that they lived inside a simulation. So when they were trying to get out of that simulation did that reset for them, and that's why they all got wiped out. So North America, that's when you see all those that was all Greco-Roman. Those are all like the empire of the Anunnas. So those are like the ruins that survived the flood and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and they started over.
And
and
they
then
go
they
many
report it.
floors beneath. They also go many floors underneath too. A lot of these buildings we see are top heavy, as John Levi points out. You know, they go down underneath many layers. We're just seeing the little tip of them, you know, of a lot of these Roman Greco. So you're right. There was like a flood, but then what there's also evidence of is just the destruction of rocks. Okay, so for example, the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the
That's a
phoenix. Yeah,
lightning
yeah.
strike.
All the
That's
burning.
plasma.
Yeah,
They were
all
using
that
plasma.
burning.
They were
That's the
using
phoenix.
bombs because
Yeah,
all
the
our lakes,
phoenix.
right? They use
That's the phoenix. All berms. That's the phoenix. Yeah. They talk about the dragon in the sky, the phoenix. That's all burned. And then sometimes when you have floods, that's what the Bible says, like trial by fire or by water. So that's like either floods or the phoenix comes first. And it's
Okay.
like
Because I'm wondering if we're in a dome, or sometimes I wonder if we're in a simulation in a sense, because you know, it's like, is this a planet or is this a simulation? Is it a plane? Is it a planet? Is it a plane? Is it a planet? It's hard to
well,
tell sometimes, you know. And the reason I don't know,
no,
it's just that the reset, because the reset was not exactly natural. I mean, there was plasma and it looks like there was bombs that went off everywhere, because that's all those lakes areas, and that's where there used to be cities on those old maps, you know, Shilaga and stuff like that up in Chicago, or well, that's actually flooded, but the lakes in more the Ukraine, you know, all those million, they're actually bombings, right? So the reset doesn't feel natural. It feels like something comes in and wipes us all out, or someone.
But there's something interesting also, because a lot of times during the resets, like let's say for instance the Mayan civilization, the reason why they call that tribe Mayans, because it was an illusion. It's like they wasn't there anymore. Because when the resets happen in a lot of places, when you dig up these cities and all that stuff, they don't find bodies. And when they don't find bodies, is that like what happens is like what's called the rapture, you know, which is like a neutralized field that just takes the people away before that catastrophe happened. So it uses its discretion. So a lot of people get saved. That's when you see like why all these kids showed up here, you know, the orphan trains and all that. They so some reasons a lot of people they get saved.
And the world fairs, because there's a theory that John Levi is promoting, you know, that shows the passports, and that this is where the resets start. You know, they incubate us in these world fairs, and then they just get destroyed in a fire. But now he's saying there's a current world fair happening right now, that in India, you know. So I'm wondering if they're getting ready for another reset, because they already got this world fair thing, what appears to be a world fair type scenario, where they're going to be marching people around inside a building, you know, and brainwashing them, or doing whatever they did then with those things during the resets. But okay, so you know what, it's interesting because you're saying that some people get taken, but what we find is underneath the city there's catacombs of polished skulls and bones that have been boiled and stacked neatly against the wall. Were those the people that tried to escape it and go underground and got met by whatever was waiting down there for them? And then some people, I would imagine, got taken through the sky, I don't know, or abducted, you know.
The ones that got taken to the sky, remember I tell you guys always to not believe these freaking Pleiadians on all these Arcturian, the people, oh, we're gonna send you the ship so you can, you know, we're gonna save your ass when they're left behind. And another thing is because they're gonna use your battery, they're gonna use you for another world. As far as Left Behind the movie, that's not about Jesus. That's about the aliens coming and picking up the people, and boom, then they disappear. Oh, we should repent and we should accept Jesus as our savior. Nah, bullshit. That's the aliens. You know what I'm saying? I'm very passionate about this. But anyway, go ahead, Chad. Sorry. Oh no, wait. You know, you guys know me by now.
I do know that on Telegram, there's a guy that I follow. It's Tartarian History. And all the buildings that you're talking about, Chad, he shows all these pictures of what they look like before as opposed to what they look like today.
Okay.
But there's still little remnants that are left. And also what did you call the world fairs? What did you call them? It talks about that. Those world fairs were built all over in different places. And they did a lot. I mean, it was like building a little miniature city.
Mhm.
And then for probably 30 days to be occupied. And then after that, they destroyed them.
Yeah.
They didn't take them and turn them into like something else that can be used by the people. They actually destroyed them. And these
And
things.
that's why it's suspicious, of course, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you do a little more research, it looks like that's where they were programming us to repopulate, you know, and that's what the World Fairs might have been being used for.
Yeah,
We
there's
don't make
something
any
interesting.
claims, you know, we can only speculate.
No,
Oh.
there's something interesting that because with the during that reset, what I found out is like in the 1800s, like the French didn't know French in the 1800s, or the Italian didn't know Italian. You know,
Thank
you look
you.
at
That's what I'm curious about. Yeah. Because in
and it was,
China, the people
yeah,
that lived there before had white skin and red hair, according to all the mummies. And then this yellow emperor came along with all their information that came from the people before, and now there's Chinese there. So it's interesting, like these
yeah,
populations. Yeah.
yeah, it to the reset. So you had like the, because I'm sure the original Moorish, you know, there were probably Moorish people that were all over Europe and they knew that language. But then when the reset happened in the 1800s, now you have like, oh, like Germans, they had to learn German, you know, because
Okay.
all the coins,
Well,
The
where
German.
did the
like
I didn't-
like if you remember in the Bible, it says like there was one language. Let us confuse their languages, and they made up all these languages. So that one
That's what I
language,
was wondering. Who made those up? Because you were saying it was Arabic, correct? And it was
yes,
Arabic that
yes,
was all
yes,
around. So where
yes,
did the German and the Chinese? I mean, I believe the cultures they kind of fed us, you know,
yeah,
still through.
yeah. I think
But the
it's
language.
backwards. I forgot Latin. Arabic backwards is English. I forgot. In Latin, I gotta go back to my notes and all that.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, and Hebrew was made up. 60% of the Hebrew words are made up from the Arabic language, and the Jewish
Okay.
people knew Arabic back in the 1800s. Old burning books. You know, it's just a cover. It's like, you know, there's always a cover of history. You know, there's always a cover.
Okay.
So
Language Firehorse too. I don't know if you know this, but the Phoenicians were the ones that established and made up this freaking English language, and that's where you have spells. You know, like I don't like to say good morning because that's like I ain't gonna have no good morning all day. I'm gonna wear black and I'm gonna cry over someone. I'm not gonna have a good morning or a welcome mat. I won't allow a welcome mat here, and I don't say you're welcome because I don't want to welcome those demons that people have attached to them. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of play with words as far as the languages. And I remember learning Latin when I was a kid. I was in the Catholic Church all the time. So, but Arabic, yes, you're right, Firehorse. That's like the first language. I think that was the like the how do you say the ¿cómo se dice denominational or how do you say the founding, perhaps the founding language? But then they said, oh no, it's Latin. You know,
no, it was yeah, because you see the old coins, you know, all over the 80% of the world, Europe, they're all over the place, you know. And I think a lot of it has to do because back then, with dragons and spells and magic, the Arabic word and the Arabic spells and all that, that holds a frequency of power that disconnected us from the power of those words and that frequencies. You
Okay.
know, so that's
Can I
one of the
open
main
up a
reasons.
discussion on something? On the
Yeah, go for it.
I want to do it on the planet a little bit because I mentioned earlier, is this a plane or a planet? And the reason I question it and don't pretend to know is because it's debatable. There's quite a bit. Okay, so originally the story is Enlil and Anki, right? And they created the solar system. I believe that's according to Ashiana Dean. So her history doesn't necessarily match up with mine because of the resets. And so it's debatable there. And then, but what it would appear is that, okay, according to Mud Fossil University, is there seems to be an awful lot of titans that you've talked about, like the mountain, the elephant, large beings, you know, there's a dragon that's 2,000 miles long above Morocco. If you look at Google Earth, that's eating a fish that's 300 miles long. And it's on Africa, which they believe is a skull of a person, and the Madagascar is the cartilage sliding off, you know, because it has all the, and Lake Chad is right where the eye would be, I think, or something. And then like the coast of California and Canada all the way into the Aleutian chain, they say is a scorpion, and that's its tail, and that little volcano that's exploding is its anus or whatever. And then there's a dragon also in the southern United States that stretches from Washington, and that's right where its anus would be. And this little head comes down through Tennessee and stuff like that. So where do these titans that large, come from, unless this is a planet that's much larger than what it appears to be? Now, what I heard was the original story is that there was this one large planet in the solar system, and Marduk came by and crashed a Death Star in it or whatever, and blew it up, and then they recreated the other planets out of it. So maybe that's a planet where there was titans, it was a larger planet, and now here's a smaller planet made out of all those parts. I don't know. Or the other thing is that we're on a much larger planet than what we're being told, and there's more beyond Antarctica than what they're saying. And
Well,
there's the debate there, because
yeah.
And I hear what you said too, that we get smaller and smaller, and that explains a lot too, because there's a lot of pictures of giants around not that long ago, in China and stuff, actual photos.
And that was like the anti Devillian time. Like that was before the flood happens, before the flood, when we lived in that realm before the flood. But we didn't know we were giants until we fell off the frequency, meaning the change of that reset that happened when the flood came down, because back in the days of Atlantis and all that, that's why you see all those fossils that they were big. It's not that they were giants, that's how we were, and that's how we kind of fell in frequency, or the change of the simulation happened, because we had no sun. We had two lights, but we had like a vapor canopy, light, and we don't need the sun to grow. As we can see, you could take a plant and put it in a glass, tank and aquarium, and then it'll grow. So when all that fell, and we had women that were pregnant during that time, and we're in this new world, like the Hopi said, that there was a first world, second world, third world. So from that second world, we came into this third world, into this reality where we see the sun for the first time. And those women, when they got pregnant, they still had those genes of the pre-flood world that also became the Titans. And then when you had the Washers that was mating with the woman of the earth, those became the Nephilim, the evil monsters and all that stuff that they were going like, whoa, you Washers are supposed to, watch what's going on. And now you're getting into the mix of cross-contamination of this.
We would have to be on a okay, because how would you explain Africa being a skull and Greenland being a heart, and Iceland being a heart and Greenland being a lung?
Also from past civilizations, like that could be that. Yeah, but even before the flood, who knows? Like even before.
But do you think we're on a larger planet, or do you not say?
No, I know we're definitely we're in a simulation, 100%. And you know why we're in a simulation? Because Philip K. Dick took a lot of good drugs, and he told us so. Now he realized that, but we came out with books like the Holographic Universe that tells you the mathematics. He was like, everything is not random, it's not chaos. So when you mathematically, you be able to figure it out. You be able to go like, wait a minute, we're in a simulation. Plus, it's been written. If you look at the books from the 1800s down, you get glimpses of people that they saw like a glitch, where they see a machine in the sky. They go like, what the hell is that going ticking? Or even now with TikTok, kids are hanging out at night, and it turns light outside, and they're going like, oh, what's that? And it goes back night. So you see all these glitches that's happening because we're waking up and we're going against the program. Where those are the ones that we're the ones that's going to bring down the matrix.
So some of us feel like, according to the maps and everything. Okay, there's this one guy with the theory on the moon. I'm not going to fall into it head first, let me tell you that. But with the crater, and it's like, okay, why does the moon? Okay, for example, I have questions about the moon. Obviously simulation, because they say, and this is what we were told in school, and this is something that I've never been right with. I've never been good with the eclipse. I've always said, don't understand it. No one's ever explained it to me in a way that I can get it. And so the example I give is like the moon is supposed to be in the earth, and then the sun is supposed to be shining, and the earth is supposed to be casting a shadow onto the moon, making it half a moon or quarter of a moon. Yet in the daytime, you see the sun and the moon at the same time. the sun's shining fully on the moon, yet there's still a shadow there. You know, it's not the explanation they're giving us. There's something else happening. And then my father said also, because the moon always travels usually from the east to the west here across this mountain. I believe that's where I'm looking. And the other week he said it went from the south to the north. Like he just said it crossed the other way in the sky
Chad,
when he
do
was
you
out there looking at
remember?
it.
Do any of you remember in school that we were taught that whenever the sun was out, the moon was not out? There can only be one out at a time. So the sun rises in the east,
Right.
sets in the west, and then the moon shows up. And
So-
that is false because I see the moon every day during
Yeah.
the
Well, there's this one guy that zooms in on a crater and it supposedly has like all the topography of like what our planet would be. So the rumor is like it is actually spinning, but it's plasma and it's just reflecting back, you know, the Earth. And the part we're seeing that we are in is a little tiny crater, you know. And so I don't know. Oh, okay, I'm gonna listen to this theory and follow it. But the way it looks is according to the maps is if we go down to South or Antarctica, there's an ice wall. And if you go up above that, that's you can climb up out of this crater into the rest of the world. Like we're in a little protective dome or something like that. That's one theory. So some of us want to try and get out of it because we're tired of the controllers. And
yeah, well that's gonna happen. And I'm
but I don't know if
that's
I agree with that. That there's a dome. I don't know. Like, how do you get out of this
well, check this out.
simulation? Then
There's a family that did their own rocketry and they put like a GoPro, went all the way up, and you can see it going it's going up, and you can see boom, it hits and it doesn't go any further. It actually hits like the ceiling of the I guess you could call it, yeah, simulation.
Yeah,
You know,
I've seen that. You're absolutely right. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, where it goes all the way up and it hits and it gets stuck.
Wow.
It's like the Truman Show, but we're all Truman.
Well, you know, there's truth in the movies. They let us know.
We're true until, you know, we break out of this, which is going to happen. There's some budget of it because the Great Pyramids tells it in mathematics. It tells you when this age is going to end and we're going to be turned back to the golden age.
And what are you? How are you on time? Because they say they made up 1,000 years for us here, and so we're 1,000 years off, right?
The Tower of Babel. They said that why the ETs confused everybody with their language is because we back in the day were building a ship to get out. So I just wanted to point that out. But go ahead, Chad. Thank you.
Yeah, they
Oh,
called it the
God,
Tower
I wonder
of
about
Babel
what we were building and trying to do.
Yeah, they figured out they were in the Matrix, right?
Yeah, they were building to get out of here, and that's the Tower of Babel story.
The Stargate. Yeah, the Stargate. Yeah. To destroy it. Yeah.
And there's evidence too that there's a lot that there's maybe more of those Babel towers around, that they're the volcanoes. I think I talked over him breaking up.
In whole chronology books and all that stuff.
Sorry, Firehorse. I think you were breaking up and I talked over you.
We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
You're good. You were breaking up a little, but you're good.
Go ahead, Firehorse. We didn't hear what you were saying.
I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, no, we're going back when after 2040, you know, we're going back to the golden age. You know, it's like a lot of people that are remote viewers and all that, they can see that they will not see past the year 2106. That's it, is over for the Matrix here. That's a timeline, you know, the chronology timeline.
What I see is, and the future that I see is that, oh my gosh, she's so growling. No, Lola, 9. Oh, her baby's trying to get her bone. Sorry. But I do see the reset.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here with whoever wants to help. I'm not gonna go through no wormhole. You know, I'm not gonna go do the secret space program shit anymore to to help them, kind of like the arcoiris, right, Iris? Like your name, Iris. Like the Ark of Noah, you know, when the flood and all that happened. El Enki or Enlil, was it Enlil? I think it was Enlil or one. Yeah, he said, hey, you know what? The flood's coming, yo. You know, we're gonna take you through this ark, which is actually a
I think that's Anki.
It's a wormhole, Anki, or Ankh. And that's where, you know, we ended up in Atlantis time, then here. Okay, but I just, I do not agree with helping for the new super soldiers, for the new, you know, the Alpha Dracos, for these other ones that are involved, Aldebaran, with these Illuminati people, Masons, you know, for them to continue. So I do see that there is going to be an end. And it's up to everyone. That's why we're here. It's up to everyone individually. Are you going to go along here because you want to live and be an immortal, which you are already eternal? We'll just go with the blast and we'll go back to where we belong, you know, the crystals. Go ahead, Chad. Thank you.
Did you say something about it being a plasma charge too, and that it has to switch its charge? And so like this, that we're living in, I think this was part of John, one of his shows, because I've been watching a lot of those to catch up on this stuff, but he was saying that it was like, we're living in the Satan era because it's the blue skies. And this is when there's winter and seasons, and that we used to live in an era where it was red skies and a red sun, or maybe two suns, you know, I think you were talking about that. And then there were no seasons, and it was like a mist, and everything was just around us that allowed everything to grow and flourish. But it was the years of peace. And then I think, but it had to do with the plasma charge, is the way he was trying to explain that in that theory. That we are in a simulation maybe, and that it, or whatever it is that's powering us, you know, it's like a battery. It has to reverse itself and go the other direction once the pendulum swing goes that way so far. But I don't know. The resets to me feel like an attack a little bit.
This book
like
you're gonna love. This book you're gonna understand. This little book is short, and you're gonna. It tells you the whole chronology. It's gonna explain everything that I'm saying about, and you never have to watch another John Lear video ever after this book. Trust me, because I know his work too. But this guy, he spent 21 years in jail. And all he did was study old books and did this thing with chronology. And that's when he found out the patterns going on. Like, wait a minute, every 138 years, there is a reset going on. You know, and they say like the red blood from the sky, which is mud. You know, there's mud that just covers, you know, that's part of the reset when you have whole cities that just covered in mud. You know, so it's kind of brutal being inside this matrix. But
I also get a sense that the water comes up too from the ground, don't you? Like with vibration and stuff, that the water comes up, it doesn't necessarily just come down.
And there's also sound, like, you know, when they say the Bible, like, and then a trumpet is heard, and that sound is that vibration, and that's what shakes a lot of those foundations, like going down. Well, but being that we made out of water, we don't.
Yeah, sorry, Mijo. The trumpet would be like, because the black holes have also music. I've heard them before when I go through a wormhole and a black hole in the program. They have music that goes through. So what do you think about that?
That's interesting, because we the sound, that's it. In the beginning it was the word, and the word was sound, and we are sound. All of our organs, there's a universal language that we all love, and that's music. You know, so music does elevate us. Going back to what I think our co-host was saying about the church and all that, I think those are vibrations. So we're like, those are the hospitals. That's where you go to get cured. Was like with lining up your whole chakras, and you're good to go. You know, but I forgot what I was saying because I'm rattling on like.
It happens to me too. I always say, let me have my channel back, darn it. Let me have Firehorse's channel back now. You'll get it. You'll remember.
But the moon, this is interesting about the moon, because there's more than one moon, obviously. Yeah. Like when the real moon is not there, that's when you have the projection. That's what you see sometimes when there's like a super moon and all, they go like, what the hell is going on? But we had, like, the original moon was in to as an observation, you know, for us, because now they are threatened that we're smart, so they're just seeing like, okay, they're gonna figure out about the, you know, collider, how to smash atoms, you know, because it's like it was just the 1800s that, you know, people were like in wagons, and then, you know, until like now where, you know, you know, we're doing this on the internet.
And then Ford came up, and that's what Hitler rode. And my dad was like, I ain't gonna be no Ford driver. He's a Chevy man. Iris, you were yesterday, real quick, we were talking about, remember, also, you guys, I've been listening to the word genome, you know, because they want to, obviously they know how to clone, okay? They know how to clone us, they know how to go, you know, because the elites want to survive and they want to go into another body, and they do it already. But Iris said that she studied the meta something. What was it, Iris? We could talk a little bit about that.
It's been some time. What was it? The Metadrone?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been some time. I said I needed to go up on it. How did I know she was going to ask me about it? But I do have.
School's in session, baby. You know,
actually, it was in reference to something someone whose initials is PB had mentioned, and when I heard it, I went to try to find out more about it, and that it is a gene that a certain bloodline possess. So that's about at this point all I can remember about it. So I think I better ask a little more.
Okay, well, it's because our own negative blood type, or if you're a carrier, we have the X and the Y chromosome. The whole
more positive.
Okay, but maybe your mom or somebody had to get that ROGAM shot that I had to have, because if I didn't have that ROGAM shot, the kids were gonna be eaten by me, by the dragon mom. You know, so crap. Let me have my channel back. So the whole secret of Mary Magdalene, first of all, they say that it was a serpent that had sex with Eve. Okay, that's what the story is. Why is it that the Vatican again worships a snake? Right? That bloodline is Mary Magdalene. But then I heard another story with Ashiana Dean that is Yeshua 12, not 9, and not the fake Jesus that they hung and that they crucified or whatever, because the real one didn't get crucified. So the Rosicrucian, the Red Rose or whatever, one of those, I think it was the Templars, they were protecting the bloodline. Why? Because we do not need a male seed to make babies. That's the whole secret.
Yeah, there are women that if they put like their yoni into the sun, that they could get pregnant, you know, naturally like that by the sun.
Yep.
You know? Yeah, they have like, you know, they don't talk about it, but it's in the science, the medical journals, you know, the women giving birth, you know, without a man.
And now they have the whole psyop with making the male a female and then having babies. Now the thing of it is I know that if you're born, if your frequency is not aligned with a male body, and it's a female coming in a male body, they have the right to do whatever they want. That's just my point of view. But another thing is giving the Baby Jabba Walkies to change the sex of the baby on purpose, because they don't want their kid to grow up to be gay. Any thoughts on that?
It is attack on the feminine energy, you know, that's all it is metaphysically, you know, and to just like, you know, to create an imbalance, you know, so that's what it is, you know, that is attack, you know, so there's an imbalance, but I think it didn't work, you know, you still got the balance, you know, and it's going back to the matriarchal world, you know, in the future. You can see it now happening, because this woman is going to be president before you know it. It's going to happen. So that's going to start it off, which I don't mind, you know, no wars, you know, who cares? I don't care voting for nobody. So
I'm curious though, the Firehouse or Firehorse, because you say it like there's one difference between you and Douglas, and that's you would have punched Michael, and I agree with you there a little bit. Um, but I see a couple differences in you and Douglas, because I see him being a historian as well, in much of the way that I see you coming. I'm just being introduced to you, so I'm getting to know you as well. But I don't see him talking about the resets. Him talking about it more verbatim. So that's a discussion I was wanting to get into with him one day, is discuss these resets, because it gets pretty, if you get into the details of it, that basically we're saying there's no Nikola Tesla. That's a fictional character, and yet I'm hearing everybody channel this person all the time.
Okay.
They're saying like Mark Twain possibly played the character of Nikola Tesla. Okay.
Time out. Time out. Go for it.
All right.
Getting real here.
Hold up.
Getting sugar with you.
Tesla was definitely real, and the reason why I tell you this is like when that PSYOP operation happened in 2011, the number one thing that was going to my mind, not why is the Masons, the FBI, the CIA, the fucking fire department, the ambulance, they're all together. Why are they after my ass? Why are they interested in me? I know Lee had to do with it, but Lee was the cover story saying like, I work for them. They're protecting me. And I'm going like, but why am I here with you? And why? Long story short, during that 7 months of hell, I had an epiphany. Like I found out that I was a reincarnated Nikola Tesla. So I think now all this operation that's coming up is like a PSYOP thing, because you can't erase like the photos, the patents. And for me, the number one thing, it was like I could relate. Like it was like he went through hell. Like I can't, if I talk long enough, I'm gonna start to cry, but it was because he knew what he wanted to do for the world to benefit, but he was naive, knowing that there were elements behind the scenes that didn't want that.
Exactly.
And the number one reason, and I'll tell you now, that it was the Bushes that were behind his assassination, because he was involved in the Philadelphia experiment.
Yep.
And he quit the Philadelphia experiment because he figured it out. I don't know how the fuck he figured it out, that they wanted the experiment to go at a certain date, because at a certain date, a certain portal is going to be open for entities to come in. And he knew that was going to happen. He was like, fuck that, not on my watch. And then that's when, they decided to go through with it anyway. And you had a lot of crazy elements that just came into this realm when the Philadelphia experiment happened. And so a whole lot of stuff, but with Tesla, he was real, because I
channeled him too, and I have a past life with him. My great grandfather, I believe, worked with him. I did a regression, but anyway,
well, it's interesting, Veronica, because I've done a lot of past life regressions, and what I'm finding is that people have gone back to lifetimes that couldn't possibly exist if there was resets.
Okay.
Unless there's something else going on, that they're just they're imposing like a history that they believe onto something that they're seeing, but it has a different history to it. But they're interpreting it a certain way because of their own history that they've been taught in this lifetime.
Right. And
because
the whole Crawley thing.
Because there were no teepees, let's face it, there were no teepees, and they weren't following buffalo around. There was a completely civilized country built, Roman Greco.
Buffalo. Ours is going to talk about.
So it's debatable. And then remember Kelly Coffey mentioned, like she said, we asked her about like the black goo or the black and stuff, and said, okay, how do you see this in people? And she said, interesting enough, I never saw it into people until it was introduced to me. And then I started seeing it in people, which kind of makes you
Well, she didn't know
wonder,
about
like,
the,
I guess this is a simulation, so it gets kind of tricky, but
she didn't know
the
about
Tesla's thing is debatable, but I can't see that it's just a speculation that he might not have been real, you know, because we're wondering how much of our history is real. I'm not
they
saying he
wanted to
wasn't.
erase him, just like they wanted to erase you know, I feel I'm not, I don't know. Just I'm very connected to that guy that would sleep with the crystals and would fall asleep. What's his name? That David Wilcock talks
Edgar
about.
Casey.
Edward Casey. I feel like so close to him because I could do the same shit. So now I don't have to fall asleep. But if I fall asleep, it's even better. The whole thing connected with Bisbee, you got to look at the azurite, the lapis, the copper, all that. That's like the thing that in the movie Avatar they're after. You know, and that's the thing that's in us. It's like the blood. Um, but the whole thing that happened with Aleister Crowley in the bushes, and I've talked to Iris about this, and I'm not proud of it, but when I was a kid, they had us lined up, and there was this thing called the Baphomet, like with the goat head and a body. And right behind him, there was a red wall, and then they did some sacrifices with us. It was horrible. It was to bring in the 72 jinns. So maybe that's what they did with the reset, and that's why the Mandela effect. And there's only a few little tweaks that you can do to do, you know, bring in the reset because you don't really want it. Supposedly, according to this guy, I sent you all the video with those 4 dudes that they were talking about the Manhattan Project, the Philadelphia, and the Phoenix Project. That's why I sent it to you, Firehorse. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but he was saying that you can only do certain little things. I'm pretty sure you can do major things. But going back to the buffalo, buffalo is a sign to me of some of us in the secret space were used to bring in children, and that's a key word for buffalo. And also, Iris, do you want to talk about that? When we met in Vegas, you showed me the pictures, like in New York, and then when I was in Pasadena working for Stats Floral Supply, I was like 16 working there, and there would always be commercials about buffalo. So do you want to get into that, Iris, or
Just briefly, I have seen the pictures that I've drawn of buffaloes that I've seen and didn't know what it was from. And one of them was like a blue buffalo, just different colors. And just kind of took me aback because I've seen buffalo, but I've never dreamt them. And I also had this a vision, as I also heard, where children were calling in Buffalo, New York. And I could hear their voices, and there was a lot of them together. And I wasn't real sure. This is back when I first started and found out what was going on. And I spoke with Jessica Morocco, and she's the one that helped me. And those were children that were calling out to me from underground in Buffalo, New York, and she helped me to cross them over. Because I told her, I said, I could hear them. I could hear their voices. I said, they're like preteens, and they're all together. And I said, I see myself standing on the street in Buffalo. And I said, I could look and I could see where I am and I could hear them. And she helped me because, like I said, I was new and everything was new to me. And she helped me to understand it, that they had connected with me some kind of way and that we needed to cross their souls over. So that was my Buffalo stuff.
Wow. Yeah, those people that could see the dead, they it's like a blessing and a curse, but they help always cross people over. Yeah. So yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that I was telling Veronica earlier that I had started watching this TV series called Medium. And I watched, binge watch. And what she does is she has these visions while she's asleep of people who died and the police, and she helps the police to find them.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched like the first 3 seasons. And then next, I started actually seeing when I would go to sleep, I'd wake up and I'd see dead people. I saw an elderly man in a backyard up against a brick wall. He was deceased. I saw a man who was underneath water with his hands tied, and he had like bricks holding him underwater. And I started seeing things like that. So I had to ask, I said, that's not for me. I did not want to see that anymore. And I stopped watching the series. So since then, I haven't seen any people who've passed on. I'll feel them, or I may get a spirit or something, or I'll get a message to cross someone over. But when I was actually it was like watching it on TV, you know, seeing a man with his hands tied underneath water. I said, I can't do that. So I said, that's not for me, and I haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, blessing and a curse.
You know,
You're
you know what I'd
absolutely
love to figure out is from the reset is who are these people? Because that wasn't very populated. You said some were removed and we were put back into, like, let's say the World Fair places, the children, right?
Yeah, I think
Reborn
that was
into
probably
the amnesia.
orientation. All those warfares are like orientation. All right, this is
Yeah,
it.
but
You know,
now,
scripts,
but
you're going on the set. You know,
but they consider themselves two species: us, the food, or and then them, the top of the food chain, I guess, or whatever. They can, and that's with the Cain and the Abel and the Eve having sex with the serpent, you know, and going into their belief system. But I'm putting that aside. Like, who are these people that came during the reset? And because they didn't seem to know how to function these buildings, because they're circuits, right? They're all electricity, and they all run and pull electricity
yeah,
down, so
yeah.
they all function, but they didn't know how to run these homes. So that does make me lean to believe that Nikola Tesla did invent, you know, and did come up with the technologies, because even though they already exist out there somewhere and they existed here before,
Yeah, yeah.
nobody knew how to
Rediscovering.
use them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
who are these people that are eating these kids, and like what you know, like Iris is seeing, you know, what is this other entity? Who are they? What happened then in
Well,
that reset?
that
Yeah,
is like a cult that I guess people will know as Satanism. You know, like the
right.
people that want to, but it's that cult that goes all the way back to, I guess,
Cult.
is like, I think it's probably the Igigis, because there are certain people that got the bad rap, because you know, the story with Adam and Eve was like the serpent was telling Eve, you know, why would they you know, why does the devil want you to be dumb? I mean, the devil want you to be smart, and God wants you to be stupid. You know, so it was really the serpent people telling the people, "Hey, eat from the apple, you know, because you're gonna see that you're naked, meaning that you're slaves. You're slaves to the Anunas." And Eden was the stronghold where they were, you know, mining because of the reset. You know, if you have a reset going, you don't have a lot of manpower, and you're like, hey, let's clone us some slaves. You know, you're gonna do that, you know. But that's not to say that original people weren't there before. It was like nature's own whatever way that they were experimenting with, like DNA under a containment field called the matrix, you know. So, but it's like I see other elders say it's like a human, a zoo in here, an experiment, or like trial of like spirituality. But you know, at the end, I know that whatever the story is, our soul are immortals, and you know, and this isn't gonna last forever. You know, because it's encoded. It's like Inky got stuck with us here in this matrix, and he was trying to figure out a way, and he was the one behind the Great Pyramid. Enoch and Inky are the same person, and what he did with the Great Pyramid, he made like elaborate, like, you know, he made other pyramids that go like, oh yeah, this is for water. The only one main one that he had, and that main one was the one that's going to break down the matrix. So so that's where the resets, because he figured it out. Like the reset happens every 138 years. So I'm gonna write this down, and it happened on the water. That's why certain people back didn't know that there was pyramids there until like another reset happened after that, and then it came back up in the sands, and they discovered it. But that Great Pyramid, that is encoded in there, and that's what's going to break us out of the matrix. And the first, you see the glitches going on with the Mandela effect. Everybody's waking up, so now the simulation interacts with us, the matrix. So it's like, oh, you know, us not accepting the mainstream, whatever comes our way. Hey, Princess of whatever her name, Queen Elizabeth, that, to go on their time line. Forget about that. You just be on your own path and your own, like forget influences everywhere. You have your own reality, your own universe, to ascend with.
Yeah, I hope there's a platform for us as well, because like Veronica said, I don't seek to write, it just comes out of me like like a spring. So it's not something I was trained to do or taught to do, and the songs just keep coming to me and the music just keeps coming to me.
Yeah.
The script. So we have a connection to Tom Althouse, who claims,
Streaming, download, streaming,
to do the Matrix, he was the legend, the writer of that. He's claiming, and he's going to go to court over it. And then if he does win, he is looking to start a platform for people like us to get our voice out. So it's important for us to keep our work up, and be writing, because right now it's what do we give it to? Who do we hand it to? We have to do it ourselves. And that's pretty hard to build your theater and produce your show and hire your, you know what I mean? It can be done, but there is that platform for us. So
is finishing the script. That's the hardest thing, because I've done plays and I like rented the theater, put the ad in the paper looking for actors, and it all comes together. Nice. So it's like it's just,
if you start small, that would be the way to do it. Yeah.
We're right here. We're all right here for you, Firehorse. Me and my friends, and that's why I started this channel, because, and I know Chad's gonna do one, pwrlady already has one, and we just got to keep talking and sharing, and the right people will come together, just like we're coming together today.
Yeah, synchronicity. A lot of synchronicity. So so
Iris or Chad, anything else? Any more questions, Chad? I know you have a bunch.
No, we went through quite a bit. It was awesome information. I look forward to hearing more from you. I'm gonna listen through your other videos and some of the information I've been missing, and look through some of the books and stuff. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure things out.
Once you read that book and look at the author's name, he has a whole bunch of videos and he's saying the same thing that I'm saying. So you understand the chronology, and you're like, okay, so that's because you understand it better, because you definitely understand. He's a great teacher.
Who is that again? Can you tell the public again?
Jason. Look, I have one of his other books here.
When the Sun Darkens.
This is the book. This is the one. Jason Briocheur.
Can you spell that for us, please?
Yes. Jason M, and then his last name is BRESHEARS. And then he talks about it. I was just trying to look for a note there. He was talking about like Eve, how the serpent was all wise, like and back it was the serpent mother, who got demonized, and but I'll be prepared next time. I don't know what notes I put it, but
well, what you're saying about the serpent is that the serpent actually told Eve the truth. Yeah, but the way that it's taught is totally the opposite. And I found that out when I actually read the Bible myself, instead of having someone stand up on a stage and tell it to me. Yeah. I read it myself, and I was like, wait a minute. What the serpent told her was actually the truth. It's not that your eyes will be open, it will be your mind. You will be open, you will be able to see. You can learn, you know truth from lies. It was like a big, profound moment, but go ahead. I know I jumped in.
No,
I'm curious. Was there a Jesus? And I understand the overlay of the trend, the story, but was there a person? And was he born of a king maybe 500 years ago, or was there something that?
There's a guy called Apollonius of Tyana, and he's the one that is called, like, there's a book called like John, not John the Baptist, but the other, Paul is also him, is Apollonius, and Apollonius, what the people that invented the new Christianity, what is it, the New Testament, was so they can have like the Jewish people bow down to them. But it was like, but the Messiah. So then they go like, okay, they're following a Messiah, then let's fight a Messiah. So they could go like, hey, this Messiah is pacifist, and they started like putting all these in there. But he knew, like the guys knew that was his spiritual advisor, Apollonius, to the Flavians, you know,
Josephus.
yeah, Josephus, yeah, and Josephus knew him too. So all the miracles that Apollonius performed, since he knew all that, and then he knew about Caesar, that when Caesar died, that he was put up on a like almost like a cross. So it's like an amalgamation of all these different beings. But then also when people says like, hey, how come people like from Africa believe that Jesus is a blonde hair, blue eyed? But maybe they're not really thinking that that's Jesus, that that's a God, meaning that is an Anunnaki God, you know, because the Anunnakis were blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah,
And that's
they
what
call them
call
the Hamis or something, the Alpha Draco with Anunnaki mix or something like that, that they were white and, you know, blue
yeah,
eyes, and it's not true, you know.
and Enki, when he left, he descended, and that people were Enki. So it was like a whole amalgamation of stuff. So like, okay, let's say that it was Jesus. Let's not say that it's like, okay, it's Enki, you know, because technically Enki was our benefactor for people when the floods were coming, like the resets was coming a few times, and he warned the people because Noah was one of his child, Enki, so he like warned them, you know. So
Yeah, and they
so
say that Noah, I think Noah's father was in the moon or something. It was a moon god or father. And then what were you saying, Tanya, showed about Moses, this dude, Moses?
Is that from the Emerald Tablets where Noah was the son of, who was it you said, Enki, where he actually was his biological father?
yeah, and he goes by another name. It wasn't Noah, it was like another name, you know. And
yes,
he was like,
you're right.
in the ark, it was all, they were all surprised because everybody else was melanated, you know. And he was like, hey, what the hell is Noah?
Really
He's
like
blonde.
you just
Uh-oh.
off.
So like,
They
and
had
that's
them
like,
all, and then he showed up, and they're like, where did he come from?
yeah, yeah. Who grew up to be giants, who when the water fell, he was one of the giants. They had to castrate him because he kept having babies of the giants that were rivaling the humans and all that. So yeah, so they did a John Wayne Bobbitt. Before there was a John Wayne Bobbitt, there was a
Lorraine Bobbitt.
When you say fall, is it like an inward fall? Are we talking interdimensionally? It's a fall?
yeah, like, you know,
Okay.
like fall, yeah, but it's really fall, yeah, like we fell from greatness, and now we're not, you know, we don't live as long as we used to, you know, or heal as fast as we used to, or you know, as strong as we used to be. Yeah.
Right.
Fall of man, yeah, that's
You
what
were,
that is.
Firehorse, you were talking about Moses in his show, and you said that they got this dude named Moses or something to write some of the things for the Bible. You remember?
Yeah, that it wasn't like there wasn't really it's an amalgamation from like the stories of Akhenaten, really, not really like Moses, you know. So it was like, you know, that there wasn't really a Moses, and if there was, it was someone that was translating for Akhenaten, and because he knew the language more than Akhenaten did, like that Hebrew language or whatever. So he, you know, that's when he kind of became, you know, like the middle, you know, the middleman that was like, hey, you know. So
I have a question about Trump though, because you said something about, okay, Donald, oh no, wait a minute. It was with Michael Aquino. Did you say that Giuliani came in to, did I hear that on your last video?
yeah,
Rudy Giuliani came in to defend Michael Aquino.
yeah,
Wow, that says
he
a
went.
lot.
Dude,
Remember
That says a lot.
remember when he was attorney general, then he went to he went down to investigate, and he says it was all the kids' imagination. It was like, oh, the kids must be imagining that. And when you have all those medical
350 of 'em.
records of all of them with like all these sexually transmitted diseases, you know, so he's yeah.
he's a
Psychosomatic.
he's a pedo just like Donald Trump was a pedo with the Epstein, the whole Victoria's Secret thing that I shared with you guys. I'll send it to you later, Firehorse. But there's just a
But
lot
who
of-
are these pedos though? These are they claim to be a different people, but you're saying they're a cult, right? It's a cult.
Yeah,
Easily.
like let's say, yeah. You if you want to join them and all that, people that or people that are making like billions of dollars, it's like, all right, you could come into the club. Or those that are getting popular, but then a lot of them get assassinated and cloned, you know, because
I'm talking
know,
about the ones living in our Roman Greco houses while we're out here in trailers and wooden little shacks, you know, like who are those people living in our, because I remember those homes.
I think it's
remember
I
from
think it's the
another lifetime.
bloodlines from the Anunas. You know, this bloodlines. It's just bloodlines for the Anunas, so the ones that are in charge. You know, so
and also
it's,
some
it's
of the
all blood.
some of the
Yeah,
Nephilim.
bloodlines.
If you, I'm gonna send you a few videos whenever you have time, Firehorse, because Max Spears, I'm gonna bring him up, our brother. He talked a lot about the wars with Aldebaran and the White Dracos and how now you know the Pleiadians are like pretending to be good, and a lot of people get mad at me because I'm like, the Pleiadians are not after your own good, you know, they have their own plan.
Well, Veronica,
Yeah.
just to add to that, every Palladian that I have come in contact with, I've had to break ties. They tried to take my energy and do all kinds of things. So I haven't met one that has been nice or good to me. That's my personal experience.
Yeah, me either.
I heard that they got their beauty from another race.
From the Sarah I Elohim. They stole the blonde trait from them.
That sounds right. I thought it was an A.
Like when was it? I moved here 4 years ago, and you know, this is before I knew all this stuff now that I know. And I was like, ooh, my back, you know, I need healing. So I'm gonna ask the Pleiadians to take me on their ship and their sarcophagus. And I wake up and boom, as I open my eyes, there's this white, huge ass being. He has blonde hair to here, blue, the deepest blue eyes just staring at me. And behind him, there's a lady in blue and white tights, you know, and she has blonde hair, and the other dude has blonde hair too. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm going to ask for that help no more. And that's when I started healing myself. I'm like, I don't want to ask nobody for help. And then, you know, in the Bible, in one of the parts in the Bible, it says the angels talk, and they're pissed. They're like, why should, look at my phone is going crazy on its own. I'm not even touching it. Stop it, Leonidas. It'll send messages to people. I'm like, stop it, bro. What was I saying?
About the Leonidas.
Okay, so the angels were saying, why should we serve man if they're lesser than we are? And I'm like, you just mess with the wrong crowd here. You know, they think that they're all high and mighty and stuff. And it's like, I've had so many angels trying to have sex with me in the astral, and I say, I do not consent to astral sex with no one. No angels. I don't care. You know, a lot of people are enamored with, oh, I need an angel. You know, the movie that I was watching, the movie, I hadn't watched it since it was made. One of them's called Michael. One of them's City of Angels with Nicolas Cage. He's over here, you know, following Meg Ryan, like he's stalking her and stuff. You know, it's like creepy. I want to have sex with you. And then Meg Ryan, there's a scene with her in the bathtub and, you know, idolizing herself, having sex with her. I'm like, you guys are sick. Anyway, off topic again. Anything else? I think we got like 20 minutes. How many minutes, Chad?
Yeah.
You're my timekeeper. And Iris, you want to say something else? Thank you. Come on, Iris. Iris and I are going to do a video soon.
Nothing pops in my head. I just kind of, as things come up, I grab my 2 cents, throw it in there, and then pop back out. That's it.
Get that copal in the fire.
She's on the mothership.
Hey. Yes. So, well, Chad, anything else before we go around the room and say how we can all be contacted? And We can schedule another show with Firehorse.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah. Because like I said, there's just more discussion to be had. I just want to be a little clearer on what we're dealing with right now, you know, tying this all into right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her. I'm gonna send her an audio book from the book that I told you, so you guys could look at it, and then you could definitely go like, all right, now I know what this guy's talking about. You know, so it'll be a lot faster and all that stuff. When the
I'll
sun
always take it a couple layers deeper though, just so you I that's just my nature.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
are.
so I always
Channel.
try and figure out a little more. But I'm gonna read these books and then I'll come back with something else, you know, just to see. Because I like to get to the heart of things and the truth of things. And I like everybody to be on the same, you know, kind of basic platform. So we're all kind of coming, you know, with their own ideas, but from the same understanding.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
what
I
the
get.
resets. That's where I focus on is those resets, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah, and those timelines, the cataclysm that is the resets. The Mayan calendars, they kept that was like the resets. Those are all calendars are about the resets.
This is not the first reset, so I don't know why people are panicking. I mean, if the shit hits the fan, shoot, I know I'm going home. I don't have to go through no wormhole and save my ass. Like, no, I'm gonna help.
Yeah, no, it it's your vibration. So just don't, if you're gonna be worried, you're gonna be living through the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So,
but the amount of things they destroyed, like this was a very, very, very populated planet from the looks of it. Just a couple 100 years ago, 300 years ago. I mean, when you look at Google Maps, you're seeing subdivisions all over every desert, all over everywhere. There's all the layouts, you know, all the for canals and for people to be living and built. They just took all the buildings down and left a few of them standing. That's a major wipeout. You know, they just wiped out a lot of people.
They didn't want their culture, their history to be known.
And so that was just 100 years ago. So everything before that's a lie, right? Because you know, who was living in China before that? It looks like white skin, red haired, you know, and so how much of that can we rely on, like the Jewish people story? You know, like is that something we were fed to? You know, that's where I want to dig in a little deeper because of this reset. Like how much of that history is real?
The Zionist Jews, what they want to do is, because remember in Jerusalem, there's a whole mount thing, you know, that they did sacrifices for this being and stuff, and there's a vortex there.
But they were reset too, and they were fed that story, maybe, you know. So it's like,
why do you think this? A few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, they're saying, "Oh, Donald Trump's gonna be our king for Jerusalem," and they had these coins and shit. And now they're saying Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot is saying that Prince William's gonna be the king. You know, now that Elizabeth's gone and all that. And Elizabeth's been dead supposedly for years. You know, they just brought it on for this whole reset. And then there's something going on from the 24th to the 30th of September where these skull and bones people, you know, all these elites, they meet twice a year, whether it's off planet or under the dumbs, to figure out who's gonna, you know, what policies are going, what president, what we're gonna have another Baby Jabba Walkie. And another thing about that, about the people getting that stuff, Iris sent me this. She told me to watch this movie. I don't know if I told you, Firehorse, but it's called the Tomorrow War. And man, that's triggering. That'll bring up some memories. And they have these really ugly white alpha drakes.
Yeah, that has to do with the Tomorrow World. Is interesting that you bring that up, but like I said on that podcast, Google September 23rd, because September 23rd, I think of next year, either like a fake nuclear war or the blackout that The Simpsons talks about, but something major is going to happen. If you Google like movies, TV commercials, rap videos, games that mention September 23rd, you're going to see a lot of movies like Avengers Endgame and that movie Tomorrow World that you talked about. So it's kind of interesting that you say that, but something interesting is going to happen on September 23rd.
I was talking to you about Eric Jordan, number 23, or what's his number? And I'm like, oh, is he going to be the next one that they're going to off or use as a sacrifice?
Michael Jordan? The next one, no, Mike Tyson.
No. Michael Jordan too, the basketball player. Or Mike Tyson too. There's two. There's
Okay.
a bunch of mics. But I had shared a post long ago, like 2 years ago when I was on Facebook, about Michael Jordan and his number being 23, isn't it?
23, I think so, yes.
And then a lot of things have been mentioning right now the number 42 because they're wrapping up these storms, you know, winter's coming, it's going to be cold here and then dry there, and then the whole flood in Pakistan. So there's a lot of things that are happening this month, this year. But you're saying that next September, Firehorse something?
Yes, 23rd, yep.
What
Just
about Mike
Google.
Tyson? What do you want to say about that?
You know, they always have somebody to sacrifice. So guess who's next? You know. And that's why they have all these movies coming out with him. And then the way they said it with the gematria, that's what triggered it off, was the gematria that, you know, my sister put together, going like, okay, look at the gematria on this. Guess who's next? Who's going to be a sacrifice?
You gotta look up the number 42 as well.
Okay.
Because I had shared Eve sent me this thing about like this whole storm coming in, and then he said number 42. I'm like, man, I remember a ball player being number 42, and he was a sacrifice. So we gotta look up the number 42 and 23. Just, you know, for us that like numbers and numerology, just to get it.
Yes.
So thank you, Firehorse. How can people get a hold of you? And I'm going to be talking to you so we can schedule another show too. How can they get a hold of you? Do you have any?
They don't. Okay.
What?
I'm on Facebook, Firehorse Klaatu. You know, I don't do media. You know, I just want to give you the information, and hopefully, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, Firehorse Klaatu at you know, in my Facebook. So
How about your email? Do you want to give out your email? No.
Firehorsepictures at yahoo.com.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you being here. It's gonna be awesome, guys. We came together for a reason. Iris Jackson, you want to tell people how they can get a hold of you?
Well, I do have Instagram, which is pwrlady, and I have a YouTube channel, and it's pwrlady also, spelled pwrlady.
Also,
But you
great.
guys were talking about the year 23. Now, I have this that I saw.
Send me a picture real quick because I can show it here because of your background. I can't see.
Yeah, I know this background, and
That's why I took mine off, because every time I had my ship in the back and I couldn't, you know, every time I moved, nothing.
yeah, I'll send it to you, and I'm gonna read it real quick. It says, I saw a few images, but this is what I remember. I saw the number Y23, but I saw it backwards. But then when I wrote it Y23. I saw what looked like a large black oblong hole in the sky. I was looking up at it. The edges were jagged. There were white clouds surrounding it, and then blue skies. There was something in the middle, a few old odd-shaped, maybe debris, like probably souls or entities. I got the feeling it was sucking up things into it. And I wrote Dimension Rip.
Interesting, because when I write, you said it was written 23 and then 32 backwards. So when I write 23 and 32, they X out, the numbers X out. But what I wrote down here is 2032. And I've seen a lot of things in my mind. There's something that's going to happen in 2033 and 2036. But the number that I got is 2032. What did you get from your interpretation, Iris, of what you saw or what you just read right now? What do you think is all that?
Well, when I saw, the reason why I did Y year 23, because when I saw it, it was backwards. And when I wrote it in my journal, I wrote Y23, but I still noted that I also saw 32, but I didn't feel it was 32, because when I went to write, I wrote 23, which, I said, because, sometimes things are transposed, you'll see it backwards, or, part of it is not spelled right. But I saw this on May 27th of this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I was actually looking up at a black hole, and it was jagged around the edges. And around that, I saw blue skies and clouds, and it seemed like stuff was being sucked up into it, like maybe souls or debris and stuff.
Wow.
That adds up to the number 20. 5/27/2022, the number 20 mirrors, perhaps.
Yeah.
Twos.
So I haven't figured out what it is. I just wrote that it was a rip in the dimension or a black hole, but it was sucking things up into it, like souls and debris.
Remember CERN, they told the public, oh, it's been shut off. Nope. Still going.
But
and then real quick before we go, I know we gotta go, but that Baby Jabba Walkie thing, thank you, got my channel back. They're saying that the kids of the people that got it can't have kids, that they'll be sterile, but at the same time watching that movie, The Tomorrow War, and seeing those things in stasis in those, in those region tanks just made me feel like, fuck, I was telling Celeste, damn it, they're doing some kind of hibernation in the people. Z wars, zombie wars that they're trying to tell people about. It's like, what if they're trying to live in these people and they're kind of being like a womb for them right now? It's just me. I think a lot. Okay, so Chad, how can they get a hold of you? And then we'll end this for now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any platforms going yet just because I'm still waiting on a computer purchase, but can't get it going on an iPad. I've tried. And then but you can get a hold of me on Instagram, and it's Chad_Cooper, I think 444. I believe so, yeah. Chad_Cooper 444. Is it at what something?
Chad Cooper 444. So it's at first Instagram.
Okay. Oh, Instagram, is that the way it works? Okay, yeah.
And then your email is CC_Kuberg or something. What's your email?
Quiberg, yeah, CC Quiberg at hotmail.com. And Quiberg is a family name. It's just Q-U-I-B-E-R-G, like a.
Sorry, I call you Kuberg, like the little Kuberg.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So I'm curious, Firehorse. Are you scared of the reset? Or are you not scared? Are you preparing and bugging out? Because I'm not one of those.
Yeah,
I feel
why? It's like people go like,
exactly.
Oh,
okay,
thank
you.
And like, yeah, and then when you run out of food, you're gonna be like that.
Yeah.
What is it? That movie with the zombies?
Zombie apocalypse or Z Wars?
No, yeah, that show. With the Walking Dead. Yeah, it's like, come on, it's like, it's like, who has time for that? The Walking Dead. Just transcend. Just have a good heart and transcend. Don't be afraid.
That's the way I feel too.
Don't be a little bit. Just have a good heart and transcend.
Yeah.
And get your act together, right? And share your love with people and your wisdom. And you don't have to get everything copywritten and money. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're here to activate each other and to come together. So it's all about love. That's what I think. Okay, guys. Well, you guys know where to find me. I'll write it down. Google my name and you'll find me. Love you guys. Thank you. Ciao.
Okay,
Thank you.
next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.